bit over a decade ago, you went from playing country footy to winning an AFL reality show called The Recruit, which I think a lot of our listeners would have watched. They're about my age. 10 years later, how do you reflect on that journey from country footy to very quickly getting an AFL rookie contract and that playing out on TV in front of everyone?
Yeah, there's a fair bit to unpack, and I think I unpack more as I have gotten older. I'm grateful for the journey that I went on. Probably at the time I was not mentally capable of being in that system. I wish I had the brain I have now back then. So like when I say I'm grateful for that, it's taught me so much. It was very fast and very, like to get to that level from where I came from was very fast. And probably my body didn't hold up to the best of it could have. At the moment, my body's in really good shape. I'm 35. I was 23 at that stage. So it's amazing as you grow and learn things, how your body changes and your mind develops. And I put that down to probably the coaching I was surrounded by as a young man and as a junior, which just goes to show probably the level of coaching we lack out in the country and in rural areas. We're very far behind the kids that grow up in the city. So I probably, it's not to blame anyone, but I just probably didn't develop good enough as a junior to hold my position as a 23-year-old man in the AFL system for as long as I wish I could have. But being in that system for the amount of time I was a sponge and I soaked up everything I could. And my goals and passion now is to teach kids and youth the things that I didn't get to have as a young adult growing up in football or in life, and be that sort of leader in my community to help develop them and fast track their goals and ambitions. So through my mistakes that I made, I'm hoping to fast track them and they can then go down the good path, I guess. So it was a great experience, and there was also bad times in it, but that's part of life, the yin and yang of life, I guess. And when you say country boy, I was very, very raw. I'd only played full forward football in country footy, done your stock standard country pre-season, and then I was whisked into the AFL system, flying to Dubai with 43 other Port Adelaide players and coaches, training at the Prince's Palace over there. And first day was 100 hundreds after a 13-hour flight, and that was a moment where I was like, what have I got myself into? That was a very pinch me moment. Like there was a lot of doubt that crept in and thinking, am I in the right place? But now as I've gotten older, I know that I was in the right place, and being vulnerable and putting yourself in tricky situations is where you'll have the most ultimate growth in life. And that, even though it was a short period, I had the most ultimate growth in that time of my life, probably compared to the last 3 years where I've probably, since kids have come along, it's changed. But yeah, it was an experience that, well, there's only one other that shared it with me, and that's Matty Eagles. So there's, out of all of Australia, out of 100 and something years of footy, there's only been 2 guys that have ever travelled this road. So we're in rare company. I am grateful for that opportunity. It taught me so much about myself, and I believe I'm using it in the right way now to pass it on to kids in my community in Port Lincoln.
How much of what we saw on the show was real, and how much was scripted just for drama? I think there were a few blow-ups. I remember Ben Dixon. I can't remember whether it was first or second season, but there was a blow-up from him coaching first season. Okay, so it was you or your guys.
Yes.
And I was an ardent follower of that show, so were all of my mates, and we looked at that and thought that felt really manufactured. And then we started to wonder what else is manufactured in that show. Can you tell us?
Well, it's a really good question, because being stock standard country boys, we called ourselves the Weekend Warriors. And all us contestants, the final 12 that were on that show, we actually made a pact to say that we didn't want to get sucked into the drama, because I think they tried to dramatise it too much, and it's just probably why the show didn't go to where it needed to go to. They tried to
Yep.
follow the Big Brother route, and TV's just built around drama, mate. You watch the news, you watch all that. It's all about drama. That's engagement is drama. We decided as a group we didn't want to dive into that, so we really stood our ground with it. They tried to make us say things about other players when they questioned us. So we'd sit at Etihad and do our questioning like we're doing right now, and they'd be like, such and such, Jack will do this, or do you think Chris Morgan's a worthy captain? One question they tried to load me with was, do you think Ryan Smith's going to be a good captain this week because his family's around golf and golf is individual? And I'm like, what kind of question is that? Like,
wow, that's the longest bow you could draw.
I was just like, I just said to him, I'm not answering that. Like, I wanted to go in and be me and genuine, and my genuine is don't talk to people, don't talk ill about people behind their back. And there was one part of the show at the end where they really made us sit down and we had to say something bad about someone. I reckon I went hard at Chris Moreland I beat him for holding the best block above my head. Because they were basically making us defend ourselves. It's like, why do you deserve to be on an AFL list? Chris Moreland should be. And then I was like, I beat him in the best of block thing. And that was hard for me to say and as a coach now, I'm all about lifting others up. Like, I just think it's a really poor environment to pin someone against someone. So I didn't like that side of the part of the show. And there's a lot of things I loved about it. But yeah, they did try to dramatise it. Maybe that's probably why it was where it went to. It just didn't last. But probably the reason why it didn't last is you're picking country footballers out of the country that just have no. It might be different now. A lot people are into their fitness and health and well-being a lot more these days than 10 years ago. I'll tell you that. Yeah. People are running, gymming, watching their diet. Life's changed. People, it's now a flex to be fit. But once upon a time in the footy world and at clubs, it was a flex to drink alcohol and party. Like, those days are gone, man. Dads are getting fit, young blokes are getting fit. We were running last night down at the football oval with 7 guys, and it's not even pre-season. Like, we never did that back in the day. People didn't even come to pre-season. So it's changed, which is good.
It is changing, and I came across your content. I mean, I've obviously known of you since the recruit. We've sort of almost crossed paths with my umpiring and your playing. I don't think we directly were involved in games together, maybe 1 or 2, but we've sort of known each other on the ether of the football world as these things tend to go. But I've seen your content lately. I just came across it, and it's very fitness focused, very honesty focused, dad, husband.
Yep.
That realm, and it's a big juggle, right? Like, I'm a father myself, 3 kids, you've got 2. I've seen you mention a few things that I want to ask about. First one is you're getting up at 4 a.m. every day, or it seems most days, 4 till 6, you call the dad hours. Now, what is that, and is that sustainable, Joey?
It's hard to do. It's especially when so I get up at 3:45 in the morning. So 3:45, the alarm goes off. I drive to my mate's gym and do my workouts for an hour and a half. Then I'm in the sauna, and then sometimes I'll go for a 5K run after and a swim. So that's all done by 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then she's home by 7. We're making breakfast for the kids, and that's what I call rush hour, 7 to 8. I have to be out the door by 8 a.m. for work for my 8-hour day. So yeah, the 4 to 6 is dad's hour. That's chilled. That's my time. That's poor old mum's still sleeping after a rough night with the kids, and I can't do this without my wife. All right.
Yep.
And then rush hour 100%. Comes in. We all know this stuff. And what I found is I was getting up in rush hour 7 to 8, and I was going to work, just cooked, thinking I've got no time, just being in a shitty mood. And the problem is I was getting up in rush hour. Kids up, they're grumpy. When you have a family, a big family, there's always one that's going to wake up in a pretty poor mood. It's very rare that you'll get all of your family members to wake up, have had a good sleep, and the kids are good. So rush hour can determine the start of your day. Get up before rush hour. You don't have to do it every day. 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 2 days a week, 1 day a week. Get up before rush hour, create the dad's hour, create the mum's hour, where you just get to relax, and you come home, and when you get into rush hour, you're a lot more decompressed. You've given yourself some time, and then that rush hour goes a bit smoother. Even if the kids are grumpy, you're regulated. And dads, we struggle to regulate our emotions at the best of times. Women, they're built for it. Men, we're not. We're built to provide and protect. So little things trigger us. And this is where I'm getting with my online health stuff is get away from the alcohol, get away from the other substances, get away from the gambling, eat healthy food, seize the first few hours of your day. But then when you come to rush hour, you're regulated. And as a dad, you set the tone for the house because the women are just naturally good at this stuff. And they'll have their moments. Like women have their moments, but they're a lot better than us men. Then you go to work, your days, generally you're ticking a box. You've had a few wins and then you come home again at 4:30 and it's what we call witching hour. It's just chaos again until 8 p.m. And then what I do is I get to 8 p.m. and I'll sit on the line and do my coaching stuff, get my pre-season plans ready. And then by 9:30, me and the missus sort of in bed. We might watch a movie and that's when I fall asleep. Literally in the first 5 minutes, I'll be lights out and the missus is like, my wife will be like, you've not watched a movie with me again. So it could take 6 to 7 days to watch a movie.
I'm a little the same. I don't know whether that's attention span or energy, but it's what you say is remarkably true in almost every aspect. Everything you said there, I can barely fault it based on my own experience. So just in this last month or so, call it a New Year's resolution, but I've always been a fitness focused guy, but I'm a lot more focused at the moment on strength and building strength in my 35-year-old body because my boy is not yet 1. And my goal is when I'm 50 and he's 15, I want up to that point, I want to be able to outdo him physically. I want to be able to run better and fight him better. When he turns 15 and I get past 50, he can take the reins as the physical man of the house, but that's my goal. But what I've found is I'm getting up multiple days a week now at 5 o'clock, 5:30, going to the gym. That's the first thing I do, and that's an hour and a half of, like you said, it's time for ourselves. But it's also setting a good example. And you're home early enough to see the kids wake up and then have breakfast with them. But the regulation you spoke about, that is 100% true. When I wake up at 7 or 8 o'clock, I may have had half an hour's more sleep, probably bad quality sleep, but I'm already behind the 8 ball. If I've gone and worked out, I come back, I'm in an amazing mood. I find myself texting my wife from the gym, like just saying things I'm happy about, excited about, looking forward to the day. And that's because I'm up and active and accomplishing something. And it can sound wanky. I used to think that is a little wanky, like, oh, okay, yeah, go seize the day, whatever, mate, I'm tired. But it's really true. And I come home, I'm in a great mood. I'm better around the kids. And come 8:30 when I start work in my studio, I'm ready to go. I am really ready to go. So I think it's a huge difference.
100%.
But tell us about the alcohol. So you've stopped drinking altogether. How long for? I'm not having a drink at all this year. Never been a big drinker, but I'm off it myself. But tell me about you.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm wanting to do a year as well, and I'm nearly 100 days in again to my first sobriety was in 2023 when I started coaching men's footy, and I did over 200 days until we won the grand final. And I think I got to about 8:30, 9 p.m. on the Saturday night of the grand final, and it was my first year coaching and the club's first premiership in 21 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and then thank you. And then so obviously over 210 days I did, and it was just amazing. The photo I took with my wife, and she's pregnant, and my daughter, like my skin is just glowing. And that was my first time in my adulthood that I'd probably spent that long not drinking, and I really discovered myself. And I was always a big drinker on weekends, like I said before, the weekend warrior. It was just our culture. We had no good leaders. There was no good leaders teaching us that this is the way. You go to a footy club and it was look at the club captain sculling a beer after he gets an award, and it's like, oh yeah, and that's not what we do at our footy club now. Like I don't. It's not a good look for kids to see. That's So we want to stamp that out, and I was a part of that culture, and I'm changing that. And so I'm going on to sobriety again. It's been wicked. Feel amazing, and that's why I can get up at 4 a.m. and do this dad's hour. And people often ask me, it's like 4 a.m. How do you do that? I'm like, when you've got purpose and drive, and and you can see your vision and your goals, whether it's business or whether it's gymming. This is how I put it. 4 a.m. is not hard. Picture getting up to go on a holiday and you've just worked for 12 months and you've got your first 4 weeks off with your kids and you're about to go to Hawaii or Bali. You'll get up at 2 a.m. to get on a plane because you're that excited.
That's true.
So that's how that's how I picture. Well, that's in my mind, and I know it sounds probably weird to some people. I'm that keen to get up and get to the gym. So 4 a.m. to you and not you, you're at 5 a.m. That's wicked. To some people, they message, "How are you doing that?" I'm like, "Going on a holiday, bro. I'm just going to the gym." And I know but if you do ever get into this mindset in this space, it's exactly the feeling of it. And some days are worse than others. Like, and I just listen to my body. I'm like, I am not going on a holiday tomorrow. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I want to sleep. And that's your body. As we're older with 35, we can't continue to do what we did in our 20s. So there are days, but limiting the alcohol and eating a healthy diet will give you more of those holiday feeling moments of waking up. And that's my analogy to put it is get out of bed, you jump out of bed. I used to 7 a.m. I couldn't get up, my back was sore. I'd look like an old man walking out of the room in front of my wife and trying to bend that's inflammation from food, alcohol, poor lifestyle. Now you see my Instagram, I'm up at 4 a.m. doing the craziest moves, stretching when I couldn't even get out of bed at 7 a.m. previously. So I'm living proof
some of those
positions
you got yourself into made me feel uncomfortable, man. You it's like you're made of rubber. That's extraordinary.
Yeah. Well, mate, it's funny. Like in 2023, I started coaching and I couldn't walk out of the change room. I couldn't bend over to pick my footy bag up. I couldn't even bend my neck to get in the car. Ongoing back pains for my whole life. I went and I just said to my wife, I was crying in the car after a game. I've just taken this coaching role on, like I'm a player, and I pride myself in helping others. And I just couldn't help my team at this point. Went to the hospital and got scans. The doctor said, "Listen, mate, this has just been ongoing. You need to have surgery on your back from your car accident." And I was like, "I can't. I've just started coaching. I can't have surgery." And I was at a crossroads. And I did what anyone does, and I jumped on old Dr. Google and how to heal a lower back. And I found 5 exercises. That's all it was, 5 exercises to help my lower back. And I did them every day for 10 minutes. And I was just like, what is this doing? This is nothing. Because I want to lift heavy, run fast, jump further kind of guy. And then I was doing these little leg extensions on the chair. I'm like, what is this doing? This is nothing. But I was at my lowest of lows. So I was willing to try anything. So I stuck with it. And then all of a sudden I found yoga. I couldn't even sit cross-legged, and that's what I put in my post the other day. And I nearly had my forehead on the ground as I was cross-legged. I couldn't even sit down cross-legged. And here I am after doing yoga, and I haven't needed back surgery. I've continued to play footy, not only play footy at country level, I've played state footy for the last 2 years as the oldest guy for South Australia in country footy. Last year, I managed to kick 5 goals against Western Australia and get 4th best as a 35-year-old.
How good. Stick it to the young boys.
Yeah, that's it. And that is exactly what it is. It's age is not a number. Eventually it is, but the best quote I seen was from LeBron James the other day. I want to squeeze this orange as much as I can and get as much juice out of it. And that's exactly we're all the same. Dr. Father Time, I think he called it, is catching us, but we can still squeeze the orange and get as much juice out of it. But that comes with good habits, less alcohol, and eating good. Not doing the things you did in your early 20s. Go on this journey of health and discovery. And I say this to everyone, and this is going to sound a bit odd, but live long, die fast.
What do you mean?
Live long, die fast. Don't die slow. Let's live a healthy life, and then we'll pass on to the next life. Don't live a life of illness and sickness. Don't spend the last 15 years of your life regretting your bad decisions through your 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, where you can't walk, you can't bend over. Because I'll tell you now, you may not think about it now, but in that moment, that'll be the worst time of your life. If you put the ducks in a row now and give yourself every chance to live healthily, you'll be forever grateful for it that you made these decisions as a young man or as a young father or a young mother or anyone. Not to say that that's going to always come true, but you're putting the percentages in your favour for a healthy life.
And that's certainly something I've been reflecting on since becoming a father 4.5 years ago. And like I said, now got 3 kids. People are watching, especially my 4.5-year-old. You know, she sees me now. She knows my attitude. She knows my behavior. She retains way more than you think. And I have to be really considered about what I do around her and the example that I set, because now, I mean, habits are already forming, behaviors already forming in her based on what she sees of me and her mum. And if I'm setting the right example now, I'm sure that will pay dividends. And also, like you say, do the right things now with your body. That's a major consideration. You know, 35 years of age, I'm going to be 40 before I know it. Every year of even just social drinking will add up. Every year of lack of exercise or the wrong exercise or bad diet will add up. I'm not in my 20s anymore. And those tickets the receipts will come back to haunt me. So I'm exactly the same. It's not easy, but it's once you've started doing it, I feel I'm in a season at the moment where I'm encouraged by it. I'm sure there'll be moments where I dip and I lapse and I can't maintain what I'm doing. But it's a goal that I've found myself more interested in as I realize my kids are watching. You mentioned surgery before. I've had 3 surgeries on my knee through my umpiring career, which might sound weird to people, but we do run a lot, so sometimes we tear our knees up. And one thing I didn't understand about surgery before I had it was, you think it's because we watch football and sport from the outside, you hear, oh, this guy's had surgery, he'll be back in 3 months. He's had surgery, he'll be back in 6 months. And you think, okay, surgery will fix it, he'll be back, it'll all be good. It is the least linear process I think I've ever been through. I had my first surgery that didn't quite fix the problem. We tried for 3 months to get strength back in my leg. I could hardly do a squat on one leg, still had pain. Had to go back and have another surgery. And then you have 2 good months, then you have a bad month. And then if you don't put in the right amount of work in the right way, you'll come back almost worse. Like the pain might be gone, but your leg is weak. You've got no quad muscles, no hammies, no calves, you know? So I don't know what your rehab journey's been like through any surgeries. Have you had operations for footy? And what was it a magic bullet or not?
I've been injury-free my whole life. It's actually the only serious significant injury I had was when I actually came back from the recruit and played my first or second league game for Central Districts and against the Crows out at the Pondasora. And I went up for a ball and it bounced really funny on the hard deck out there and it over my head and I tried to reach back and hyperextended my knee and I burst the sac at the back of my knee and had bad bone bruising. I haven't, so I've been just to listen to you speak about it. It's something that it's foreign territory for me, but it's I would love to know, like, for me, it'd probably hurt. It'd be really hard for me to deal with upstairs. I don't know what it was like for you being a fit person, an AFL umpire, like how you dealt with that mentally, because I feel like it's not something I've had to traverse down, but it's something I probably wouldn't handle very well. I'm very grateful for my body, and I know that once you lose something, how much you actually use it, and you need it. So I don't know if I would handle it very well. I'm so grateful I haven't had to go through that. I know that knee injury. I was nearly not in the recruit because of that. I was about a few millimeters away from doing ACL, they said. So I was very fortunate that it didn't. But I don't know how you dealt with that mentally. How did you traverse through that?
Yeah, it's funny. There is good and bad to an enforced break from something as intense as footy. The benefit I found, to start with the positive, was that it freshened my desire up again. Because by the time you get to, I guess it's like a player, by the time you get to umpiring AFL footy, most guys have umpired for at least 10 years. So it had been from the age of 14, I was umpiring local footy, made my way through the ranks, got to the AFL at 25. And that's a really exhausting journey to get there because you're trying to do everything right every year, every game. And it's a great reward when you do get there, but it's like being drafted, right? I'm sure a lot of players think, oh, I've done it. I've been drafted. Well, now you're the small fish in the big pond. You used to be at the top of whatever league you were umpiring or playing in before, and now you have to basically start again, right? And there's no guarantees that it goes well. So I took on far too much mental load in my first 3 or 4 years on the list, trying to be perfect, trying to be the best first, second year umpire there'd ever been. And of course, with that pressure that you put on yourself, you just lose all perspective of what matters, what's real. And as a result, you don't perform as well as you should. And umpiring, like any sport, is a massively mental game. Massively mental. You can let one mistake get on top of you. You can let bad form absolutely dive your season. Once you get some perspective around it and understand that you will make mistakes and things will go wrong inevitably, it's funny how few mistakes you make when you're in that mindset. So it was actually good for me to have an enforced break of half of a season off in 2019 to just step back and go, you're going to be grateful for every AFL game you get again. Once you start getting picked around 13, 14, once you're fit and you're finally back, it meant a lot more to me than the games I did the year before. And then in 2022, I had the 2 surgeries in the same knee again, and it wasn't meant to cost me much. We thought that I'd be umpiring by round 3 or 4. Like I said, first surgery didn't take. I came back, or tried to come back halfway through the season, couldn't run, missed the whole year because I had a second surgery. So something that started off really minor, I didn't umpire a game. And that was the first year we'd moved back from Melbourne to Adelaide. For family reasons, end of COVID, they allowed all of us to, if you want to go back to your home state, you can.
Yep.
So I was not umpiring, frustrated by bad knees at 32, and sitting on a couch 800 Ks away from all of my teammates, just thinking, what the hell am I doing? Like I'm literally a slug on the couch watching guys umpire. I was in the thick of it last year, and now I'm useless. And that made the move back for me quite difficult, because I thought, have I done the right thing? Like, I'm trying to rehab my knee away from the group, away from our docs and physios and all that sort of stuff. So that was the hardest part for me. But I will say that it did freshen me up again. 23, 24, 25 have been the years that I've probably enjoyed umpiring the most. So there's good and bad. Hey everyone, it's Curt here, just quickly saying thank you very much for tuning in on Muscle Cat Media. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple and you haven't hit follow yet, please do so. That helps grow the show immensely, as do 5-star reviews if you're enjoying what you're hearing. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't hit subscribe, that's a lot of people, please make sure you hit that button. All of this helps us grow, helps us get the show to a lot more people, and I appreciate you tuning in. So do those things if you can. Tell your friends about this, share the link, and let's spread this far and wide. Okay, back to the show. One question I do have about the recruit that I didn't get to before was, I think people see it on TV. They go, oh, this guy's just won an AFL contract. What maybe they don't understand is not only how hard it is to be thrust into that environment, like you said before, but you were a Category B rookie. So you weren't exactly, I assume, flush with cash from that year. It's not like you've been put onto a $300,000 contract straight up, and now you have to sort of navigate your normal life with this part-time commitment that's playing out in real time in front of every football fan. So how did you go with a lack of resources plus this extra mental and physical load?
Mate, I'm so glad you asked that question. Well, actually, when I first got drafted, I'd actually been fired from my job because I was working for a company in Adelaide, and I'd left to do the filming of the recruit. I was on $25 an hour as an electrician. They sacked me because when are you coming back? I don't know. It's going to be 8 weeks. Anyway, I got sacked. So I made the final 3 of the recruit, and that obviously didn't get filmed until October. So I did all the filming at the start of 2014, and October was fine. Didn't have a job. Just done my knee at Central. Mum supported me. Dad supported me. Living in Adelaide. Yeah, no job. Couldn't get work. Sort of knew I was going to get drafted. They said, you're probably going to win it, more than likely, we think. Anyway, gets to October and I get drafted. Contract doesn't start until November. I've got no job. I've got no money. I literally had no money. I'm not joking. I moved back to Port Lincoln. I'm actually working at Jones Electrical now. and they took me on. So while I was contracted AFL player, I was working in the graphite mine here in Port Lincoln to make some money to get back to Adelaide to start
Wow.
pre-season. The first, so I literally had no money. Moved to Adelaide. I'm on an AFL list. I've got $0 in my account, chasing my dream. Get on the list. I take $3,500 home a month. Don't get paid for the first month. You got to work that first month.
So less than $1,000 a week. So you're on about 45 grand a year.
I was, yeah. I think it's 53 grand a year. But don't get paid for the first month. So here I am on an AFL list. I was taking food from, I might get in trouble for this, but anyway, I was taking food from the footy club home, from the lunchroom home. So I had no money. I was on an AFL list. I had no money. My first pay come in and I got $3,500 for a month. I was doing anything I could. This is the length I went to be on an AFL list. I wanted this. My car was shot to pieces. I was driving in and people were driving wicked cars, and I had this crappy blue Ford Falcon with some rims on it that I thought were pretty cool. But yeah, she was a pretty bad car. And that was the first, when you're on the list, the first year of your you do get your tax back at the end of the year. So that was your full tax, so tax free. I don't know if that's still a thing. So I did get all my tax back at the end of the year, and I got delisted, and me and the missus went to Bali for 10 grand, I think, which is not too bad by the time I did all my tax return. So that was a pretty good. So I've got that. There was some good things. I did get a bed and a TV, and I had to fight for that though, because when you're drafted and you move interstate, they give you X amount of dollars for furniture and all this sort of stuff to go through. I think it was Harvey Norman, must be a sponsor or something. But because I moved from Port Lincoln to Adelaide, not technically interstate, I was like, I fought the case. I was like, well, I'm moving 7 hours away. It's no different from Adelaide to Melbourne. Like, come on. So I fought the case. They weren't going to give me, it was like $5 grand or something. Like it was, yeah. So I fought the case and the club fought for me, which was really grateful for Port Adelaide doing that. I got $5 grand. I think it was the player development that helped. The guy at Port Adelaide helped me. And I got a fridge, a TV, and a bed for me and my, well, she was my fiance at that time. And yeah, on the bones of me arse, as you could see, and just chasing my dream. And probably 1 year contract definitely didn't help. I would have loved to have a second year just to try and prove myself a little bit more. But come on, who's gonna? Pretty tough. Like Matty Eagles did a really good job. He was probably a little bit more advanced than me. He's a big dude and very strong and very athletic. And I had a conversation with Matty Eagles before he actually won that. And I said, whatever you do, mate, do not pick a South Australian team or a Victorian team. And he said, why is that? I said, you don't want to cop the abuse that I've copped, mate, from the SNFL supporters. Being spat on.
Really?
Called names. Oh, mate, it was probably some of the worst depression I'd experienced now I look back on it. I really look back and it does it. It was a pretty tough time. Not only that, some of the players at the club just didn't like the way I come in. I think it's all changed now. Everything's so positive, but back then it was pretty, it wasn't too bad then, but probably prior to when I was there, you had to earn your respect. And I tell you what, you ain't getting respect for coming in from a reality TV show. ain't no one respecting that. And that's fair. And I felt that. I was just like, and whether it was not always said, it was maybe I put a lot of that in my own brain, but I felt that. I was like, oh man, have I maybe come in through a pretty cheap way? And you start doubting yourself. There was moments where I couldn't even, we'd be at training and I'd kick the footy and I'd miss a target and they'd be like, give it back to Yowie, you can't kick. And I'm like, I didn't want to be out there, And it just ruined me, man. Went over and then come back with a tail between the legs. And there was one thing I definitely learnt, and I still do to this day from my time in the system, is don't ever treat anyone poorly. It doesn't matter whether they can play footy or they can't play footy. So when I coach where I coach now, you're still a human being at the club rooms and you treat everyone with respect. It's not about the capabilities of a player. And I understand AFL is different because it's a business. But in rural footy, you treat everyone with respect and the utmost respect, and you will get that back. It's not about your abilities, like I just said. It's about the human being. It's the human being first. Travis Boak's actually got it on his Instagram profile, and I love it. Human being first, athlete second, 100%. So yeah, it's a good question. It's a long answer for you, but it was a really tough time. I was not on. It wasn't about the money for me, mate. It was about my drive. Money was a byproduct. Didn't really help me survive and be the athlete I needed to be. One night I walked across the road from my house and bought Domino's pizza because it was cheap, and I got caught. Someone had caught me walking across the road with the pizzas, and it's a Friday night, and I got to the game on Saturday and bought a hockey. My coach, who's actually probably one of the best coaches I've had there. I love footy. He was really good for me. He tore shreds off me. What are you doing? Buying pizza Friday night before a game, mate? I'm like, that's all I can afford. But look back now, there's other things.
Carb loading, that's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, there's other things I could have afforded, but my mindset wasn't around health and fitness back then. I was a lot of a different human being. So at that time, it was all I thought I could afford was pizzas because they were so cheap. They were like $8 from Domino's. So loaded up, and
you're trying to survive.
I got a rocket for that before the game on a Saturday, and so there was some tough times there, that's for sure.
You got spat on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who how and who and why?
Just a supporter. Should I say the club? I probably shouldn't, but it's an SNFL club.
Maybe not. But
no, I won't say it. But just walking up the race, as we're walking back in the change room, spat on and abused, and pretty brutal. Doesn't do much for a 23-year-old's mind, and that's what I told Matty Eagles, like, go somewhere where you're not really known. So why I said to choose Brisbane or up there is because it's not a footy state. Yeah, they're not going to have the types of supporters coming. They're probably not even watching the recruit up there, is my point. But when I went through Victoria, whenever I walked through Victoria or through Melbourne, probably not so much now, but back in the day, I was just a D-grade. It was a little bit of a D-grade celebrity. Like, I wouldn't say I was a celebrity, but like there was. You went from being a genuine country bloke to this person. The recruit. So Melbourne was hectic for me when I'd go there with my wife or my fiance at the time. I couldn't go out. Even Adelaide, I'd go out and it'd be hectic, and it's changed now, which is good. Like I'm a bit of anonymity, which is good. But yeah, there's some tough times, but there's plenty of good times, and I think the tough times shape you into the person you are anyway. And like I said before, if there's a negative time in your life, there's something positive that is coming out of it. It happens for a reason.
I always wondered on the recruit, the process at the end where you're in the final 2 or the final 3, then the winner gets decided. And then the final thing is that they go around the AFL clubs in a one-man draft and ask for nominations, basically. Who is going to draft the winner of the recruit? And I don't ask this as a reflection of your ability. I ask this as what would have happened to anybody who won. Was there a guarantee that clubs would nominate? Were some clubs contractually obliged to nominate and take the recruit? Or was there a possibility that if no clubs liked you, that it could... I mean, surely they wouldn't let the finale end with no club taking the player, right?
Yeah, I have often wondered that. And, who knows how that works behind. We'd only be guessing, I reckon. But, there's probably no doubt in my mind that, I reckon if you went and did the show again now, you'd find some seriously good athletes out in the country. 10 years ago, like I said before, footy was different in rural areas. Now everyone's fit, jacked, running. The mindsets of athletes these days has changed, and that is a credit to social media. There's so much more information out there on how to be fit, how to be healthy. Like even in the trade industry, it's like you can just search stuff up if you don't know it. You don't need to go back to your trade. Like it's at the fingertips, and I think it's advancing our culture and society in a good way, although there is bad things with social media as well. It goes hand in hand. But if you use it the right way, yeah. So I think, yeah, back then maybe there'd probably have the chance that the shows are told to, hey, you got to put your hand up, or it's going to look bad. But now I reckon if they did it again, that you'd find some seriously good hidden gems out there, because people are, yeah, more mentally capable and physically capable these days. It's just the industry's changed so much, and you even see it in the AFL. We're so far behind the NFL. It's not funny, and American sports. But we are fast tracking. Like, I think you look at the NFL now, it's so much more about looking after the players' well-being and maximising their potential. Whereas I think the AFL was so much about getting the most out of the player physically for the brand of the footy. And now I think it's changing. It's like they're understanding that the players are actually are what driving the whole system, and the more you look after them and their loved ones, the more maximum effort they're going to give to the industry. And I fully believe that, and that's how I coach here. It's go out of your way to make your players feel loved and respected, but also the ones that they love, so their family members, their girlfriends, their wives, their dads, their mums. Get them involved. Make it feel like a little community within a small country club, and hence the Premiership Guernseys on the back on the wall. Like, we've won the last 3 because we create culture. We've won the last 3 in a row. It's the first time the club's done that in 80 years. And I was at the helm of that with a bunch of other great coaches and a great support group behind me. But it was like a big family club. It's just, you create that culture, and no doubt the AFL systems are trying to bite into that NFL structure, which obviously you look in the background, you love your sport, and you'd know full well what that's like.
Tell me, I mean, that's enough on the recruit. I know what it's like to be known for one thing, and I know there's so much more to Johann Wagner than that. What I want to ask about is what you post on socials at the moment. It's very, very honest, very, very raw. There's things that I look at and go, man, I don't think I would want to share that, because I don't know how people would react. I talk for a living with this job, but there are certainly things that I keep to myself. How do you decide what you put out and what you don't, especially the stuff around family life? And do you ever worry that people think you're putting stuff up just for content, and maybe they don't think you're sincere because, they're skeptical because they've seen others fake it in the past? Do you ever worry about that?
Previously I used to, not now. No. It's more important to help people than worry about what you think people might think of you. I had a childhood that I get very upset about, because my parents split at 7, and since having kids, I've understood. I missed out on my childhood with mum and dad because they split, and for whatever reasons that may be, they couldn't work it out. It's more important for me, from my experiences, how hard my childhood was, to maybe hopefully save someone's marriage or a kid's childhood through being vulnerable. And that's me being vulnerable. Yep. I'm talking out of my own experiences when I talk on my socials now, I'm trying to talk directly to the soul of some dad or mum that may be going, oh, maybe I'm a bit like that. I need to change myself. And if they want to come to me for help, I'm offering help to people. Sometimes it might just be they see what I'm saying and go, oh man, I need to change. That is me. That is me. I can see. And obviously they might go on their own journey. That's perfect. Heaps of people have messaged me and said, oh man, you've kicked me into gear. I've been running, like my club president. He's like, I started running again. He's like in his 40s, and that's perfect. It's making people think, and otherwise we just coast through life. And I think it's more important. It was very difficult for me, especially after being on the recruit, and I was nervous about posting. Now you've got to lose all worry about what a potential few might think. And I've got a mentor that helps me, and I fully believe in get coaches, get mentors, get someone, have someone in your corner, and whether that, you pay them, I pay mentors to help me. Everyone has mentors. Anyone that's successful has mentors. You learn from people. don't always try to do it on your own. Yes, you can, but I think having someone help you and show you the way is perfect. And I've got a mentor. I've got two mentors I run with. One for my footy coaching and one for my personal growth development. And I pay them thousands of dollars a year to help me. And it's the most ultimate growth you'll ever have is learning from someone and someone that's in your corner. And the problem is we value our money in wrong ways. We're happy to spend money on alcohol and gambling and bad food, but when it comes to putting money into yourself, we just like. If I told people I spent $5,000 on a mentor, they'd be like, "What? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Yeah, but this is a guy. I'm value his time. He's helping me, and we're exchanging energy and time. He's giving me his energy and time away from his family to help me grow. So that has to come at some sort of. You have to transact somewhere. People don't understand that though just yet, and especially people that are stuck in the habits of. But they're happy to transact alcohol or go to the pokies and put $300 in,
Yeah.
and you don't get anything back for it, or buy like an $80. I've never smoked an $80 pouch of tobacco. I'm like, how are people? Yeah, it's a really weird space that some people have their minds in around money, and I've only learned this the last few years, and it's been, I'm starting to value putting money into your health and well-being and upgrading your knowledge is what I call it. So, it's very important to not get vulnerable, to get vulnerable and not worry about what people think, because for me, I might help someone. That's more important than worrying about Joe Blow down the road. My mentor always says this, and I love this saying, and I'll try to keep it as clean as possible. But he says, when you post about yourself and just be natural, authentic, and don't lie. And what you're doing with your podcast is people will come to your channel if they like what you put up, because it's your value. So it's like putting a filter in the toilet bowl. The nuggets will stay in the top, and the water, the good clean water goes through. It's exactly the same with your social media. I'll be attracted to your stuff because I actually like what you're talking about. The people that don't like my stuff, they unfollow me. That's perfect. I want them to unfollow me, because
that's right.
How sad are you
the page is not for
unfollowing
them.
someone talking about living a healthy lifestyle? It's not for them, and that's fine. It's not for everyone, but it's funny because you do lose followers, and you're like, how sad. All I spoke about is being positive and looking after yourself, and you've unfollowed me. It's just like, that's when you realize, all right, there is some negative people in life, and you just can't change them. So that's fine. But
yeah, I mean,
I've gained so many more followers for that fact.
Yeah, and my content's very, very different. I mean, it sort of crosses over in the long form podcast that we're doing at the moment. But at first, I was very offended by every unfollow, especially the smaller your numbers are, the more every unfollow hurts. But it's actually just it's just a refining mechanism for who likes your page, because if you do post the stuff that you are naturally interested in, mine's certain sports and doing it in a certain way. If people unfollow me, well, it's just not the page for them, and that's fine. I don't.
Yeah.
A page doesn't get better. A following doesn't get better by having people who are forced to stay. That just doesn't make sense. You'll find your niche, you'll find your people, and that's how I think all good followings build. I'll let you go soon, but I do want to ask, how do you do it all? How do you physically fit it all into the day? Like on a day where you wake up at 4, you're doing the gym. You're doing your alignment, which I'll get you to explain. You go for a run as well. You work 8 hours. You've got 2 kids. You've got your wife who you're trying to make that relationship as good as possible for your kids. But you get to the end of the day, you're too buggered to watch a movie. Does there come a point where you feel like it's all too much? You're coaching a footy team. You're on, you're doing all sorts in the footy world as well. How does something have to give? And have you gotten to that point at all?
Yeah, so the last 12 months was at most difficult, because my son was 2, nearly 2. My daughter was 4. I was coaching men's footy after I'd work, playing on Saturdays, state footy, rep footy. I think I had about 1 weekend off of work in 33 weeks, and that was spent actually training at a town 2 hours away from home. So that was my weekend off, was spent training for rep footy. So that was a lot of pressure on my wife. Easy for me to do, right? It's footy, it's work. This is not about me. This is my wife was really holding the house up. She's amazing. I couldn't do the things I do without her. Like I just love her so much, and she's my rock. And it got really tough, and I hate letting people down. And I was so invested in me and myself, and like I get paid to coach and work. So for me, that's a form of providing. So I take that with honor. And
Sure.
but yeah, last 12 months was very difficult. There was some moments there where, like, I wasn't a very good dad and grumpy, short. I wasn't managing my time well. I was trying to help everyone. You just can't do that.
Mm.
How I did get out of those situations is I learned to actually, what I did is I'd get upset, short, angry, and my wife was like, "You're just doing too much. You need to stop." And then that's when I worked out. I'm like, when I'd start to get grumpy, I'm like, all right, I need to step back from something. I started to work out, like, I wasn't very good at talking to my wife about being overloaded. It would come out in the form of being angry or upset. And typical
Yep.
blokes like that, we're not very good at speaking. Whereas my wife was like, I'm feeling like this and that, it's too much, blah, 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 blah. We come out in conversation. Blokes come out in physical form and blah, 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 like that. And then you go, oh, I'm just tired. That's poor. That's poor.
Yeah.
So I've gotten really good at identifying
Shut it
that.
down, wake up next morning, go again.
Yep.
Gets worse.
Yeah. Mentor as well is what I had a mentor last year. I've got two this year now, but my mentor, my coach, who's actually my state football coach, Steve Simons, is a bloody, just so grateful to meet this bloke. And I'd go and have Zoom chats with him. Like, mate, I am just cooking here. And I also joined a WhatsApp group with some like-minded coaches that my brother got me involved in. So Xavier, my brother, coaches at South Adelaide, and there's a guy, Jace Williams, is actually a Hawthorn coach. He runs the app. He's an assistant coach, a WhatsApp group. And yeah, I just first post in there, man, boys, I'm cooked. And all these coaches, there's like, I can't remember, 7 or 8 of them, they just like, go easy. Made me feel so good. Just getting around people that weren't in my community and like-minded people, a bit like what you're doing here. You meet these random people that align with you. No, you're doing too much. You're doing this. Just giving me great advice. And I had a day there, I was so sad, and I'm like, I just messaged this group and unloaded on them. The first message I'd put in there, I'd been watching them for like 3 months and not replying because I was too busy. I was just like, that's not helping me. So, but then I needed. So I went in there, and Jace Williams and that, so I sort of probably see him as a little bit of a mentor as well. And these other coaches, and they just help me resettle and say, you need to drop something out, and you can't just be doing all of this as a dad. I just thought I was being lack of energy and I was soft. And they're like, no, you're crazy, man. You're doing too much. So it solidified, like, okay, I am burning the candle. This year's a lot better. The daughter started school. There's a bit more reprieve at home for my wife, who, like I said before, is amazing, which settles the tension of the house because she's got a bit more energy. I've got a bit more energy. It helps. No alcohol, not less, but just no alcohol, good diet, mentors, leaning on people. So I think you can't do it on your own. You need to have support. I've got my wife, I've got mentors, I've got other coaches, and you use that. You can't do this all on your own. Although I do get up and do my gym and my work and all that on my own, I'm looking for advice from other people. And it doesn't matter who you look at in life, whether it's yourself, other umpires above you, the CEO of the AFL, they all have people that they go to. We are all just big babies trying to work it out. Like, no one has it worked out. Stop thinking everyone has it worked out. Everyone leans on someone. So the best advice I can give you is go searching for some advice from people, whether that's coaching, mentors, or your partner, or finding a friend, or your dad, or your mum, grandma, grandpa. Old people have great advice, but stop trying to work it out on your own and get vulnerable and let people help you.
I love how positively you speak about your wife and the importance and nobility of her role as a mum and as your wife, and as keeping the house together and allowing you to go and do your thing and provide, right? And it's pretty similar with us. The one thing I'm most grateful for, well, I'm grateful for many things about Kathy, but the most striking example from the last 12 months is how she talks to our girls, who are now old enough to understand, about what I do and what my work is. And she has instilled in them a gratefulness for daddy working hard to provide for the family. You know, it's not that daddy's off doing something because, you know, it's fun for him, although I do enjoy it. She's saying, no, this is what
Mm.
buys us clothes and gives us food and all that sort of stuff. And having that encouragement and that gratitude from not only Kathy, but now the kids has been massive for me. And that gets me out of bed every morning to go and do my job better and try and build this business and all that sort of stuff. So it's great to hear you speak positively about your wife as well, because there's just not enough of that, I don't think. Yoey, another time I'll ask you about your gym regime because, like I said, I'm trying to put on some muscle and you are killing it. I'll let you go now, but I've loved this conversation, man, and the recruit stuff was really interesting, but the stuff outside of that about life as a dad and a husband and trying to juggle it all and getting it right, which we don't often do, but when we do, it's nice. I've really enjoyed hearing from you on all of that stuff. So I appreciate it, mate, and we'll definitely chat again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, Curtis. Yeah, it's been awesome. I'm really glad to touch on the partners. Our wives are rocks, and they are raising the next generation. So you're doing great things. I'm going to be watching intently, and I'm so grateful you reached out to me. And we can have a conversation. If you want to do round 2, round 3, hit me up, man. I love this stuff. I can talk.
That'll happen, mate. No worries. We'll chat soon. Johann Wagner, where can everybody follow you very quickly?
I've got an Instagram page. It's just called Yoey Coaching, or I do a child and youth coaching page, which is called The Coach's Mindset. The Yoey coaching is more around men and women and parenthood and just living a healthy lifestyle. So yeah, have a look if you want. If you don't want, just carry on with your life.
Good on you, mate. Appreciate your time. You did it. You made it to the end. Thank you very much. I appreciate you tuning in to Curt Can't Talk. A reminder to hit follow or subscribe wherever you're listening or watching along. Tell your friends as well. Let's spread this as far as we can. Curt Can't Talk is everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. So make sure you hit follow and let's make this thing big. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time.